whose responsibility is it to set a boundary?
It is a difficult one because part of it is that when you are setting a boundary, you need to actually understand why in the first place. The person is setting a boundary means to actually look at where they are at and what's happening in their mind that they need it. So we say boundary in the first place. So, for example, with families in addiction or families with family members who are in active addiction who are in recovery or are in treatment, a lot of them struggles with having to set these boundaries because they feel like maybe they're going to upset the family member who's in treatment, or maybe they're going to affect their recovery and so on. So they shy away from having to set these boundaries, right? So the family member needs to actually then look at where they're at with regards to the addict themselves and what are they going through, how are they affected by the addiction, and what is their role within the space as well.
I think boundaries are also a difficult thing because boundaries are not linear. So when we speak about boundaries, we speak about it in such a universal way. Like, you must understand that boundaries are different for different individuals, different family members, different situations. Also different depending on the needs of whoever, they need to be different. But they're not linear.
Yeah, so for example, then within an active or within an addiction space, family members struggle a lot with having to say no with the person who isn't active because they feel threatened, they feel afraid, or they feel like their family member will feel rejected or they will feel rejected by them. Uh, and so in some shape or way, they then shy away from actually using or saying no. And then they actually then go into a space where they end up enabling because they're actually scared.
Yeah. I think that brings us to the next topic, which is actually boundaries do not equal rejection. And inside of a therapeutic space like this, we need to understand that boundaries are actually a thing that helps them learn how to have a healthy relationship. Because yes, everyone comes here for a substance or a process that they're struggling with, but we find that most people struggle to have healthy relationships. So the core of change is also learning how to have a healthy relationship with self and with those around them, which ultimately also will spill into recovery long term or aftercare. But in a space like this, knowing that boundaries is the one thing that helps create like a healthy relationship.
Very much. Because part of it is that, like, there's a saying that I read a while ago that says, when we can't or when we are not setting boundaries, we actually become accomplices to our own misery.
Yeah.
So family members think that when they're not setting boundaries, they're actually helping, the person who is actually in struggle. However, they're actually just continuing. So it's a dynamic. And that dynamic is actually just causing misery all around. And they're also becoming party and contributing to that particular space that is then creating unhealthy or continued unhealthy relationships.
And then understanding when a patient gets admitted, the family or the loved ones need to understand it's our job to start the boundaries. Sometimes the family doesn't understand that, but getting on board with us instead of fighting us makes it a little bit easier to help us get to our goal, which is ultimate like healing.
Exact change. It's not, as you said earlier, it's not easy.